Why do you feel empty? Right after getting what you wanted? You fought, you worked hard, you made it. But instead of feeling fulfilled, sadness came. Emptiness. Depression. Why? In this video, we dive deep into this little talked about psychological phenomenon, post-achievement depression. Understand how excess dopamine, focusing on external goals, and seeking social validation are sabotaging your happiness, and how to break free from this cycle of chronic dissatisfaction. This video is both a warning and a guide for those who want to redefine success in a more authentic, profound, and healthy way. You'll learn why many people go through a crisis after achieving something they always wanted, the role of dopamine, expectations, and the happily ever after illusion, how to reprogram your mind to feel real satisfaction in the present. What truly fills a person from the inside, it's not what you think. How to get off autopilot and reconnect with what truly matters to you. Comment below. Have you ever experienced this? Achieved something and still felt lost or empty? Share your experience with us. Your comment could help others feel less alone. If this content touched you, please help spread the message. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with someone going through the same thing. The illusion of the finish line. You made it. The job, the car, the body, the marriage, the prize. After so many years, it finally happened. But now that you have it all, tell me, why do you feel so empty? It feels like something is wrong with you. You look around, see your achievements lined up like trophies on a shelf, and yet you carry a weight in your chest you can't explain. You're not happy, and that scares you, because deep down you believed happiness was just a matter of getting there. Since we were kids, we're taught this. Work hard and one day you'll be happy. Pass the test. Get a good job. Buy a house. Build a family. As if life were some kind of marathon with checkpoints of happiness. As if crossing the finish line would light everything up and finally make sense. But no one prepares you for what happens next. After the achievement, what's left? Silence. The shock of realizing that the dream that once felt so important didn't bring the relief you expected. This feeling has a name. And no, it's not laziness, nor ingratitude. It's an existential emptiness disguised as victory. It's the failure of the cultural promise that achieving something would bring fulfillment. But the cruelest part is that we believe this promise for a long time. And the bigger the effort, the greater the expectation. You idealize the arrival so much, you forget that life is the journey, not the destination. And when you get there, there's no party. There's silence. There's a question that cuts deep inside you. Is this all there is? And that's when depression hits. Sneaky, almost unnoticed, because you're not feeling bad enough to ask for help, but you're also not well enough to celebrate. It's like the world expects you to be radiant, but inside, everything feels gray. This is the paradox of emotional success. You won, but lost meaning. In the next few minutes, you'll understand what happens in your brain when you achieve something, why dopamine tricks you, and what you can do to avoid living trapped forever in the cycle of achieve and crash. Because this pattern repeats, and it will keep repeating until you understand the true source of this pain. Dopamine and the biological trick of achievement. To understand why you feel that emptiness after achieving something, we need to look inside your brain. More precisely, at a powerful molecule called dopamine. You've probably heard of it, but maybe not in the right way. Many people call dopamine the pleasure hormone. But that's wrong. It's not related to pleasure. It's related to the pursuit of pleasure. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter of desire, motivation, and anticipation. It's released before the achievement, not after. In other words, dopamine is what gets you out of bed with a goal. It pushes you to study late, work out, plan, and persist. It's the fuel for the race. But here's the catch. When you finally reach the goal, dopamine release drops drastically. Your brain shuts off the chase system because biologically the mission is accomplished. You hunted. You caught it. It's over. And guess what's left? Emptiness. It's like you're running full speed, and suddenly someone pulls the emergency brake. your reward system shuts down. Along with it, your motivation, excitement, and euphoria. That's why many people experience an emotional hangover after big achievements. It's not because they don't care about what they got. It's because the brain doesn't know how to maintain that excited state without something new to chase. This is the dopamine paradox. Dopamine lifts you up, but then leaves you on the ground. And the bigger the race, the harder the fall. You spent years trying to pass that test, win that relationship, achieve that ideal body. And now that you got it, you don't know what to do with this lack of direction. It's like a rocket that burned all its fuel to leave the atmosphere, but now it has none left to keep going in space. And this explains why many athletes get depressed after the Olympics, why artists crash after hitting a big hit, why successful entrepreneurs face deep crises after selling their companies. Dopamine did its job, and then it left. Now it's just you alone, dealing with the internal silence. But don't worry, you're not doomed to this cycle. The key is to understand what comes after dopamine, and what your brain really needs to feel alive, not just stimulated. And that has everything to do with the meaning of life. Then now what's next? Syndrome and the identity collapse. After the achievement comes the most feared and most ignored question of modern life. Now what's next? It starts as a whisper, then becomes an echo, and soon turns into a void that follows you with every step. You spent years telling yourself, when I get there, everything will make sense. But now that you're there, you realize that there was just an illusion. You weren't chasing a goal. You were chasing meaning. And the problem is you put your entire identity into that goal. How many times have you described yourself like this? I'm a student. I'm an athlete. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a fiancé. I'm the guy who's going to win. You were someone in motion, someone on the way to something. But now that the path is over, who are you? This is the post-achievement identity crisis. And it's much more common and more devastating than it seems. Human identity is shaped by contrast, by narrative. We need a before and an after to understand ourselves. When you lose the journey, you lose your sense of self. It's like the story ended at the climax, but no one wrote the next chapter. And there you stand, frozen on the stage, the trophy in your hands, but no idea what the next role is. The human mind can't handle a narrative vacuum, so it starts questioning everything. Did I do this just to please others? Did I choose this goal out of fear, not desire? Am I useless now? And this kind of thinking silently eats away at your self-esteem. You're no longer on a mission. You're exposed, naked, without a storyline. And the most dangerous part is when society celebrates your achievement, and you have to pretend you're okay, even if you're falling apart inside. The now what syndrome isn't just being dramatic. It's the psychological collapse of someone who spent their whole life pushing the now to later. You traded presence for expectation. And now that there are no more expectations, you don't know how to be present. But there is a way out. There is a path back. It's just not where they told you it would be. It's not in the next trophy. It's in a different direction. The direction of meaning, of building purpose, of the why, not just the what. Emptiness is not failure. How meaning replaces euphoria. Here's a truth that almost no one tells you. The emptiness you feel after achieving something is not a flaw. It's an invitation. The absence of excitement, the end of euphoria, the breaking of the rhythm are not signs of failure. They're signs that it's time to stop running and start living. You've been conditioned to believe you need to feel intensity all the time, that you always have to be moving, always on to the next challenge, always chasing the next goal. But the human brain wasn't made to live in constant euphoria. Dopamine is a push, not a home. You can't live inside excitement. It's meant to get you moving, not to give you peace. And that's where something deeper comes in. Something beyond biology, beyond brain chemistry, something called meaning. Meaning isn't euphoric. It's steady, quiet, and deeply nourishing. While dopamine says, run, run, run. Meaning says, stay, Build. Look, you can chase a diploma, or you can find meaning in using that diploma to improve someone's life. You can fight for the perfect body, or you can find meaning in caring for yourself with love, discipline, and gratitude. You can pursue fame and status, or you can find meaning in using your influence to inspire or protect. Meaning is what keeps your soul awake when the shine of achievement fades. It's what makes you keep going, even without applause, even without likes, even when no one is watching. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." That phrase sums it all up. If you have a why, a real reason beyond ego, image, performance, you will endure life's ups and downs without falling apart every time dopamine drops. And here's the most freeing part. You don't need to find the meaning of life. You can create it. You can build it, day by day, in simple things, in real connections, in routines with soul. Because life isn't a climax. It's not a podium. It's not a highlight reel of wins. Life is what you build between one achievement and the next. And only those who understand this can live in peace even after the race is over. How to break the cycle of dissatisfaction and redefine success. You've made it this far, felt the impact of achievement, then the emptiness, then the questioning. But now, it's time to choose something new. Redefine what success means. The cycle of dissatisfaction is fueled by 3 illusions. 1. That happiness is in the future. 2. That success needs to be validated by others. 3. That life is about stacking goals, not building meaning. To break free from this cycle, you need to break these 3 chains with awareness and courage. 1. Bring your focus to the present. The question isn't where do you want to go, but what can you truly live right now? Take your eyes off the finish line. Look at the path, at how you feel when you wake up, at how you treat the people you love, at what you do when no one is watching. True satisfaction isn't found on any specific calendar day. It's in the quality of your presence in this very minute. 2. Deconstruct the need for external validation. You don't need the world to applaud your peace. You don't need to post your calm. You don't need to turn everything into visible results. When you live for approval, you become a slave to performance. But when you live for purpose, you become a craftsman of meaning. You don't do it to impress. You do it because it's who you are. 3. Replace goals with values. Goals end. Values endure. Goals are temporary. Values sustain you. For example, a goal might be to have $1 million in the bank. A value would be to have stability and freedom to live by my beliefs. When you live by values, every small act becomes part of something bigger. And that is the true antidote to post-achievement depression. Starting over with a new perspective. It's not about stopping having dreams, but about not putting your whole soul into them. About understanding that what sustains you isn't what you achieve, but what you build inside. Want a new kind of success? Find something you do even without recognition. Cultivate relationships that don't depend on status. Value routine as fertile ground for the extraordinary. And above all, embrace the idea that emptiness is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of depth. Because in the end, the greatest success isn't what impresses others. It's what finally fills you up inside. Maybe the next step isn't climbing another rung, but finally learning to be whole where you are. If this video touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel. It helps me keep making content like this. Share it with someone who feels empty, even after winning. And comment below, have you ever experienced this? Achieved something, and still felt like something was missing? Share your story. I'll read every comment.